Alrighty, everyone. So this is our Chalk training where I will be teaching you how to use curriculum. Chalk is a PowerSchool product under the umbrella of Unified Classroom, Curriculum, and Instruction. My name is Jessica Casillas. I'm a professional development specialist here at PowerSchool. I'm residing in San Antonio, Texas right now, where it is hot, but I'm sure there'll be a storm later and then it'll feel like winter again. I have 14 years of education in, I used to teach chemistry, biology, AP biology, and some astronomy, and I stayed away from physics, but I'm going to be using some chemistry examples today. But I'm going to be showing you how to use the program and not necessarily what to add to the program. So a little bit about your organization. You have both curriculum and instruction. I saw about 182 curriculum maps. You're going to be using New Jersey state standards. And if you have other standards you're going to be using, I can show you how to find those as well. On the right-hand side, is an example of the template. This one is actually the CTE template, but it's just an example of how this is customized to your organization. So you can have standards, essential questions, benchmarks, activities. All of those components are going to be the areas in which you are going to be completing along the way. Here's a little bit about curriculum and instruction. So curriculum is a digital platform that we are working on today, and this is your training for curriculum. And it's a collection of customized unit plans, and they align to a set of content standards. This is customized to your organization. It is unique to your organization. As I mentioned before, all of those components are going to be completed and customized to meet your goals. And so we get to define your goals through a scope and sequence as well, and then analyze the standard usage. On the right-hand side, we have the instruction side, and this is where we will be doing lesson plans, and it allows you to create a roadmap of structured daily classroom or your activities in your classroom. You can enrich them, you can describe them, add videos, media, documents. And then further down the line, you will be able to use the curriculum content in the curriculum. You'll be able to use the content such as like lessons and resources that you make in the curriculum into your lesson plans in the future. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Here's your agenda. We'll be setting up your account. Our goal is to navigate the curriculum. We'll be able to search, compare the maps. So since you have about 180 of them in there right now, the way that we search for our maps is going to be fairly important, especially, starring the maps and bookmarking them so that you don't have to be looking through them every single day from a list. You are going to create and collaboratively edit a sample map. So actually I have created a map and you all are going to jump in and edit with me so that you know how to use the platform. And then we're going to analyze for map completion and the standards. We're going to take a look at that and when you used them. And then we'll take a look at that pacing on a calendar. Okay. The curriculum process, you may have items on your Google Drive, on your OneDrive, on your hard drive, maybe you have things on a document. You're going to be able to transform all of that material into the platform. And then the gray areas are going to be your unit fields. And this is just an example, but you'll be able to transform what you already have into the unit field. Here's a little bit about roles and permissions. So you may be wondering what role that you have. So viewers are just that. They can only view certain maps, only published maps. So if, let's just say, you've been assigned to the elementary school, just an example, you can only see the published maps if you are just a viewer. But if you are a creator, more than likely you are either a creator or a publisher today, we'll find out. And you'll be able to write the curriculum and you'll be able to edit those maps. If you are a publisher, you have the ability to click on that publish button. So if that publish button does not appear for you, then you are not a publisher, but we'll find out. And then we have an admin, and that admin will be able to create users. They're the only ones who can declare something public, by the way. So if you're wondering if you can make a map public, it's only something an administrator can do. And they are the only ones who can assign roles and permissions. A lesson viewer can be an administrator that is not necessarily declared admin. So for example, if you have a department head, that person, that leader, could be a reviewer of lessons. So they don't necessarily have to have admin access, but they can review lesson plans. Here's a little bit about public site settings. So you have a menu for admin only. So just so that you know when you're building your curriculum that some of these items can be declared public or not. So you have the ability to automatically add the published maps to the public site. So as soon as you press the public button, it's going to make it public and add it to the list of public maps. You can decide to include or exclude any attachments that you make. So let's just say you want to build a curriculum and add some attachments, then it is possible to exclude the attachments for the community, but not for teachers. And then you have the ability to include the standards so that people can see the standards you're using, and include the pacing. So maybe they want to see the pacing calendar. That's something you can allow. On the unit template side, you have the unit template components or the unit fields. You can decide only to make the standards, desired results public, but not the assessments, learning opportunities, and resources. So you get to choose what's going to be public. Okay. Now, a couple of norms for today. You're going to be following along with me for some of this, and then you're going to interact by jumping into one map and editing that. So know that this is a work in progress. Of course, you're not expected to finish this over or in one day. Okay, we're going to go ahead and activate those accounts. So an email was sent to you yesterday. You're going to go ahead and find that email, and you're going to go ahead and activate your account. So find an email. It'll probably say Chalk Team action required. That's usually what it says. So I'm going to go ahead and make a note of that at the very top to show you what it is that you're looking for. So you're looking for a message that says Chalk Team. So you're looking for a message that says Chalk Team action required. And when you click into that email, you're going to find a button that says activate your account. When you do that, you will find that you will have to add your first name, your last name, and then change your password or add a password. Okay. Let me know if you're having any issues. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and switch my screens while we're waiting. So I'm going to get out of this presentation. I'm going to go ahead and display my Chalk account. Okay. We will be meeting in the dashboard. Okay. So there is one little kink that we have to work out because if, for example, you come to the point where you're at the platform, but you can't get to the dashboard, then I have to walk you through something. So let's go ahead and find out if everyone can get to the dashboard. You're going to notice a button on the far left-hand side at the very top, curriculum and instruction. When you get to this button, you're going to click on it. And if you see this page, then you're good. If you get set to create a class or a lesson, then you need to let me know. That way we can get you or get everybody at the same spot. So we are meeting at the dashboard, and this is the page you should be looking at now. To get there, you're going to click on the top left-hand side. Okay. Alrighty, I'm going to keep an eye on the chat to let me know if you have any questions. Alrighty, we're going to start then. We have about 16 people in the session right now. So I think maybe we're going to have people join us in a little while, but they will have the recording at least to refer to. Okay, so what's going to happen is we are going to talk about the dashboard and then jump into curriculum. You have some buttons here. You have lessons, you have curriculum, reports, resources, and not everyone has admin. And then you have your settings. Your settings is the same. So let me go ahead and move this over. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the camera so you can see the right-hand side. So on the right-hand side, we have the ability to get help from the community and support this Power School community and support. We also have some mini modules. So if you want some more help on lesson plans and curriculum, there's a tutorial, as well as notifications up at the top. And then we have access to our account and we can log out from here. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into curriculum then. So we're going to go ahead and go to curriculum up at the very top or curriculum over here in the center. Okay. Let me get okay. So thanks for letting me know. I know some of us are on the move and listening is fine. Okay. Alrighty then. So let's go ahead and jump into this curriculum. Okay. So this is our curriculum home. You're going to notice at the top left-hand corner, you have your organization name and it tells us that there are 184 maps. Below that, you're going to have 4 tabs. And then you have in the center all our recent activity that you have been in charge of. So what have you been doing? So in my case, I created 2 sample maps today. And then on the right-hand side, we have our organizational activity. What has everyone on our team been doing? I can see if somebody has created something, has published something. I can see that somebody updated a unit. So there are different ways to utilize this screen here. And you can go ahead and filter through the activity, take a look at any updates, any comments, anything done in the last 24 hours. This becomes really important, especially when you're when you have so many maps available. Perhaps after a long weekend, you want to make sure that you're catching up to what everybody else is doing, and this is one way to do it. I'm going to go ahead and go to the curriculum maps on the left-hand side. So on the left-hand side, go ahead and navigate to curriculum maps. Okay. When I get to curriculum maps, it's going to give me a list of all of my maps. So let me let it think. There we go. We have some maps listed here. We actually have 8 pages worth of maps. They are organized by name and then by owner. So if you have a map that is specifically made for the entire district or an elementary school or middle school, then you would have that owner listed here. We also have maps that are in draft, and I can see that we have a couple of timestamps here for the maps that are in draft. I can see that some of them are published, and then I can see that some of them are made public at the moment. This little symbol tells me that it is public. Okay, I will go over the difference between a draft, one that is published, and one that is public in a little bit. At the very top, we have some tools to help us find maps, and we can look for all of the ones that are in draft or that are published. We can fine tune to the ones that are published, draft, and archived. Only a map that is published can be archived. And then we have the ability to search through the toolbar. And then we have numbers such as 12, 11, 10, 9. Those are tags that have been created with a map. So why is it already there? It's there because when we create a map, we add tags, and those tags will appear here to help you find it. So instead of having to type the whole word out, you can just scroll to the basic tags that there are. Now we're going to go ahead and click on any one of these maps. So click on the first one, click on the second one. It does not matter which map you click on. Perhaps you want to find the map that you are working on today, or you will be working on. So if you are assigned to agriculture and society, you're going to click on that one, and you will analyze the overview on the right-hand side. You will notice an overview listing all of the units that are available. And in this case, it tells you how many lessons are given to each unit. So if we have 10 lessons, that's going to mean 10 days worth. So the introduction to innovation is going to have 10 lessons. That means that it's going to last 10 days. Our total duration for this entire unit is 55 lessons. Below that, you're going to find the owner as well. So was it assigned to just an elementary school? Are you viewers of this map? You'll find out with the map owner button. Okay. Standards, I can see that we have New Jersey state standards, and those are listed below. And then at the very, very, very bottom, I have my tags. So I can see that I have the 11, 12, and career and technical education. Those tags are going to help me find it. So if I were to look up 11, I should automatically find agricultural and society displaying here. Okay. Now let's go ahead and talk about these buttons at the top. So when I click on any one of these maps, I will see 4 buttons at all times, even if it is public. So notice that a published map or public map has a different view here. You can view the map, create a brand new draft. You can compare the map, and then you have a couple more options. But if I go to a draft, notice that there's an edit button instead. There's still a compare map, and I have a published map. So the question is, if you go to a draft, if you see the publish button, that means that you have the ability to publish. Not everybody does. So if that button is missing for you, you may not be able to publish. Okay, let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about these buttons now. So if I click on any one of these maps, you notice that it's not possible for me to actually edit the maps. I have to actually go click on the edit draft in order for me to do that. And that is a safeguard to make sure you're not overwriting on anybody's work. I can also click on any one of these units. So in the overview, if I click on unit 1, it'll take me to unit 1. Notice that I have a version history on the right-hand side. So this tab will tell me if I have a draft, if it has been published, and if I have older versions I can refer to. If I want to take a look at a map without going into edit mode, and I want to see more than this overview, I have an option to look at the compare map view. So I'm inviting everyone to go to compare map. So click on any one of these maps and you will find the compare map button. So when you click on that, it's going to take you to this view right here. Let me do that one more time. Go to any map and find the compare map button. Click on that one. And it's going to take you to this view here. We are in compare map view. This is a really good way for curriculum writers to find out how you are doing compared to other people. For example, are your naming mechanisms or your naming, system here the same? Are you adding your subject, your grade level? I can find out by adding a curriculum map to the list. Side by side, I can find out what everyone else is doing. So for example, abnormal psychology, I can compare to the way accounting did this. How did accounting 2 do this also? So we're naming them the same. And then I can find out if we have standards that are listed. So for example, if I go to the standards tab of each map, I can find out what standards are being used and how many of them are used out of the total. I can also find out if there's a version of the map that is available. So for example, this is the current version, abnormal psychology, and I only have one version, but if there was more than one, I would be able to select the version. As a manager or maybe a reviewer, this is a really good way to find out how everyone is doing. And if you're asking for this link so that everyone can see, so for example, let me give you a real one. So at the end of the summer, perhaps the entire math team is going to be reviewing, then you can go ahead and generate a link, copy this link and send it out. This will give you a comparison of those specific maps. So it's convenient. You can bookmark that link and you can star this comparison. So if I star this comparison, it's like bookmarking all of my favorite maps so that I can see at a glance how it is that I'm doing. So I can name this comparison. And so I can go ahead and say my favorites. I can also say all math. comparisons. So that's something you can do, and you can bookmark this view. I'm going to X out of here. I'm not going to save it because it's in your environment. I'm a guest in your environment. Now let's go ahead and get out of here. And on the left-hand side, you're going to notice a little arrow, and it's going to take you backward. I can also navigate back to curriculum by going to the curriculum tab at the top. So I'm going to go back. Now here we have a list of our maps again, but now we're going to talk about the public feature and what this means for us. So we have a publish button on any draft. If you have a map that is in draft and ready to republish again because you're going to make some changes, then this button will appear here. I can go to edit the draft. So I can publish and then edit. And then once I edit that draft, it will go to published again. Okay, so let me go ahead and give you a situation, a scenario that will work. If we have a map that is in draft, it will, and I press the publish button, it will now be in the publish section. So you will now have a timestamp here. Sorry, those are horrific drawings. Let me try that again. I have a timestamp for the draft. If it is now made public, it's now published, you will have a timestamp here. And then that means that an administrator can now declare it public. So we have a process here. So what does this mean for lesson planning? If I have something that is in draft, I cannot share it with my lesson plans. I cannot use that content. So that would not work. But if I have a published map, any of these, I can use them in my lesson plans, but that'll be another training on how to utilize this content in your lesson plans. And it'll be fun. It'll actually be pretty convenient to do lesson plans. Alrighty. So that's what the situation is. Public means that it is available to the public with one link. I cannot share a link at any point yet until it is published, then made public. We are going to go ahead and use this search bar. I'm inviting everyone to go to this search bar now and click on the search bar and type out the name sample. Go ahead and search sample until you get 2 maps. Hopefully everybody here can see these 2 maps. So I'm having everyone search for the sample map. And we're going to practice writing in a map. You are searching for my map. And we are going to try one of the 2. I want you to try the blue one. The majority of us are going to be CTE teachers. So let's go ahead and look at the CTE map. So I don't want you to look at the academic map. Okay, we're going to look at the CTE map that says sample map June training. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat. Okay. So go ahead and edit this map. We are all going to jump in there and edit. Go ahead and click on it and edit. That'll take us to this map. And we're going to see map completion first. This is the place where we can see if any work has been done. For example, I can see right off the bat that a lot of these areas are blank, of course, because it was brand new. There's no work done here. There are maps that do have some areas that are completed, but in this case, we've just started. On the left side, you are going to notice that I have Unit 1, new unit. This is where we will begin to add Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, and so on. And consequently, they will be stacking them on the right-hand side. So you will have Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, and so on. That is the map completion view. This is just a very convenient way to see how much work has been done so far. Let's go ahead and add standards before we even begin with the new unit. Notice on the right-hand side, you have options. You are then going to go to settings, options, and then settings. Go ahead and click on options and then settings. This is going to allow us to choose the standards that we want. This is going to be where I can change the title if I want to. I can change the tags. So for example, if sample wasn't good enough to find it, I can click on this one. Then I can also edit, add more to this one. I can also change the owner. Notice that you have different owners of the map. Well, viewers could only see, let's just say if I had chosen high-tech high school, only the viewers of this high school would see it or edit it depending on what permissions they were given. But in this case, I chose the entire district. But that's where that came from. Okay. Let's go ahead and add some standards together. Everyone will be able to add some standards here. So I'm going to go ahead and go to add standards. Now I get to search for the standards that I would like. We get to go by country, region, subject, and grade. Going to country, I'm going to go ahead and expand that. I'm going to look for the United States, then go to region, and then I'm going to go to New Jersey. And this is going to give me all of the maps for the state. I can choose the one that I want here. Now, I'm not too familiar with the standards here, but I can see that there's Common Core standards, world languages, and other relevant standards. But what I'm going to do is click on science, see what comes up. None? Okay, so I can't find the science ones. Let me go ahead and type a keyword. Let me look up science, see if something comes up. There we go. Here are all the science ones related to this state. So I'm going to click on one that is related to chemistry. Now, in my state, 10th grade does chemistry. So I'm going to try that. Hopefully it is it. I can always preview the standards to make sure those are it. So I'm going to do that, preview them. Matter, interactions, substances, yes. Okay. Well, this is Newton's. Okay. We can use it. Okay, and so then I'm going to go ahead and add the 11th grade standards as well. This is where you can add multiple standards, not just one. You are not limited to one. Okay. Alrighty, and so I'm inviting you to add some standards on your own. You can do that too. And then we'll go ahead and save. This is us practicing on a map so that we know how to use it. And we got to this by going to options on the right-hand side, and then we got to settings. Let's go ahead and save. So it says that one has already been added. That's okay. That means that if I got an error, it's because somebody had already added this one. So I'm going to refresh my screen and go back to the settings. And there you go. Somebody had already added it. So wonderful. We can always delete them if we want to. You can add more later on even. And so let's go ahead and start building some units then, now that we're here. On the left-hand side, you have one unit already existing. That is the default. It will always give you one to start with. And then we're going to go ahead and go to new unit. Everyone is going to click on new unit and then add a number. You can say unit 5, unit 6, unit 1, and then the title, go ahead and put the subject that you teach, and then your name. That's how we can name all of the maps that we work on today, all of the units we work on. And then for suggested duration, I'm just going to say that this is going to last 9 lessons long. And then you can change the color. Some like to do in like, I guess, order, red, orange, yellow, blue, all the way till you use all of the colors. and then you'll go ahead and create. So create a new unit, write the subject and your name. I'm going to go to new unit over here, and I'm going to change this because I want to demonstrate how you can make changes to the title, the number of lessons. How do I change that information right there? You're going to go to unit settings. So in order to change that, I must go to my unit settings. All right. So I'm going to click on the unit settings, and this is where I can come in here and change the title to the periodic table. And then I can say this is not 5 lessons, but it's going to be 8, and then save. I'm going to refresh my screen to see if you have also created a unit for yourself. There we go. Awesome. So we're all making one right now at the moment. Now notice the gray areas on the right hand side. Those are going to be the unit fields that are unique to your organization. So everybody in the that is using the CTE map are going to see course information, standards, essential questions, benchmarks, activities, sample tasks, and so on. And it's yeah, there's a lot of them, but I'm going to fill in what I can and what I know. Again, I'm not the curriculum expert here. You all are the curriculum experts here. I'm just showing you how to use the program. So at the very top, we'll start with course information. I'm going to assume that that's just information like what is the unit about. And I'm going to go ahead and open this up and just post some information. It has some prescriptive text already though. Content area, grade level, number of credits. So it already has this information, and it would just be up to you to decide what is going to go in all of these. So grade level, you could say 10, number of credits, that's something only you know, sequence and major, and then so on. And you could fill this information out. I mean, I'm not sure that you're going to be able to change the colors of anything, but you still can use that tool to change colors. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this up. On the right-hand side, you're going to notice a little text box. That text box is going to allow you to either write a note to yourself or to somebody else. For example, if I click on this little text box, I can write a note and I can say, please help me complete this. And then I can just kind of send a plain message to everybody. I don't think you can tag. I've tried tagging, but I can't tag anybody. So I can't like add a person specifically. But I'm going to go ahead and comment. And at least everybody can see that there is a comment waiting. So I have the ability to go to that comment and then address it. I can reply or I can resolve. So that is one way you can communicate with each other within the platform, but also I can write a note to myself. Okay, moving on. Let's go ahead and go to another field. I have standards. Let's go ahead and practice adding standards. This is something you're going to get fairly good at because there are different ways to add them. Go ahead and click on the blue button in your map, and then you're going to go ahead and click on standards. You're going to notice that we have all of the standards we listed from top to bottom. Now I'm going to go ahead and open the ones that I think the chemistry ones are in. And we have these here. I can already see some regarding the periodic table. And if you see that your standards are not written correctly, then you can always let community and support know that you have an issue with the standards. And that it has happened, and they'll clear it up pretty fast. And then I can go ahead and hover over the standard, and it'll give me a description of each standard, which is nice because I remember writing the standards down and I just needed to look them up sometimes. Okay, let's go ahead and save. We've added some standards and now they're listed, all of the standards for this particular unit only. I'm going to go ahead and close that up and then move on to essential questions. I'm going to open it up, and I could add multiple boxes, but I'm just going to add one of them. And so I am just going to add a sample that I have here, edit content and paste. Closing that up. I can also add some more standards. I'm going to close it up Now I'm going to go ahead and look at activities. I'm going to open it. Now with activities, to me, this is going to be something regarding our vocabulary, or I don't know, I can say, this is just going to be lesson 1. And then describe or define and draw a picture. This would be my first lesson. And so I could change the color just so that we know that this is an actual lesson. Okay, so this is going to be one activity. So I would need to attach some standards to this particular activity. Standards. And I'm going to go to the ones that I cherry picked and pick 1 or 2, because only those are going to be having to do with this topic. So ideally, you could create some activities and attach some standards that are relevant, because there is a way in the long run to analyze the standards that we've used. Moving on. So we have the assessments box. Now, this is where I want to demonstrate that if I open up this assessment box and somebody else opens up the same assessment box, it's not going to overwrite anybody's work. So potentially I can go into any one of these and start editing, and you're going to notice. Can I have a volunteer come join me at the periodic table and start writing an assessment so that I can demonstrate what it looks like when somebody jumps in here to use it as well? Go to my periodic table, go to my assessments box, try typing in here or adding another one, and you can see what it looks like. So what happens when somebody jumps in here and starts typing in here? Can somebody do that for me real quick? And if not, that's okay. But what'll happen is somebody's cursor, if you start typing, it'll show their name typing at the same time. And if you add a box at the same time, it's okay. It'll just add a box for you and one for me, and you can reorder as needed. There we go. See, we can see Tony's right here. Okay, and then I can see Shelly. So multiple people can be writing at the same time without disrupting anybody's work, really. Unless, of course, we're trying to be funny and then overwriting somebody's work, but this is pretty cool. All right, and then I can add another one. So somebody add a box and then see what happens. If I add another one, you add another one, what happens? Okay, and so if you add a box, let me see if I see how it's saved. Everybody is working at the same time and it'll auto save for me, which is pretty cool. Okay, alrighty. So the point is that we can collaborate at the same time. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the last one because I want to be able to add some resources. Well, actually, we can stay on this one since we were all working on it. I'm going to add some standards to this one assessment. Let's just say we have a quiz and we have a formative assessment. We have a formative and then we have a summative assessment. I can add multiple boxes here. So if I add another one, I can call this, the formative test or whatever, and I can add some more standards to that one. So the point of the standards is to label each activity. I can label each assessment with standards. Okay, now let's talk about uploading files and using the Google Drive. We can upload a file by clicking on this button, and I can go ahead and find a review that I would be using on a regular basis. And here's the review uploaded from my hard drive. I can also go into Google Drive and I can sign in with Google and go to Jay Casillas, that's mine. And I can go ahead and type the review. And here's the review I want to share with my teachers. And I have 2 versions of that now. So yes, you can make attachments. And remember when we were talking about public documents or public maps, we don't have to make this available to the public. This could be hidden. So something to consider. Alrighty, last thing, I'm going to show you how to insert a video. And I'm just going to pick, let's just see. I'm trying to add core resources. I'll just add it to core resources, and I'm going to add a video there. I'm going to expand that one, and I'm going to have a list of resources. So in that case, I'm going to have two things. Those are my resources, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this link into an embedded video. Going to the rich text editor, I go to that one and paste, insert, and there we go. There, that would be my video by going to the little camera button in the rich text editor. And here it is. Okay, let's go ahead and analyze them. Let's analyze this map and all the work that we've done. I am going to be looking at our standards, so we'll look at this and we'll publish, and we're pretty much done. So let's go ahead and click on standards. I can find out when I use these New Jersey state standards. Like in this standard in particular, I used it in Unit 2. So I know that in this standard was used in Unit 2 and Unit 6 by, and you can see which map that was belonging to. And if I have, notice that when I hover over, I can find out exactly what unit that is. So it's pretty cool, pretty nice feature. I can also share this report. Let's go ahead and go to pacing now. Pacing is going to be very, very easy, important. Let's go ahead and click on that. We can check it out. Now notice on the left-hand side, we've kind of built our scope and sequence. It tells us when it started and when it ended. Now let's just say that it's time for me to figure out when the year is going to start next year. I can go to the suggested start date, and I can go to August 22nd of the following year, or this year, or whichever I want. And it'll adjust the calendar. Oh, what if it wasn't the 22nd, it was the 24th? I'll go ahead and change it to the 24th. And that is by going to the suggested start date. If I wanted to make this English unit a whole lot longer, I'm going to go ahead and click on it, change the duration, and fine tune it and make it 8 lessons long, meaning 8 days. And there we go. It is now longer. This is a really good way to make sure that all of your content is reaching the end of the year. All the days off are going to be set by administrators. Okay, going to activity. Let's go ahead and go to the second to the last tab. And this is going to be the place where you can see if any dialogue has been taken place. If there were any comments, I can find out. So the comment here would be helpful, especially if I'm having to address an issue. I could put like a name and say, hey, can you please help me do this one? And this is how I can handle that workload. Perhaps you're a reviewer and you want to leave notes here. I can refer to them here. Insights. Insights is going to be in the long run. Have teachers been using this? Been using curriculum? Okay, so have teachers been using curriculum content? That's what we will find out here. When we go over lesson plans, you will know that if we have used the curriculum in lesson plans, you would know. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to units, and then I'm going to go ahead and publish this entire map so you can see what happens when I publish. So I'm going to go ahead and publish, but do make note of the fact that we can copy the map in case we need like an AP version of the map. Okay, go ahead and publish. I will be able to publish one person. And then notice that it says I have a comment, and that's okay because, you know, if you say, hey, when are we going to lunch? Or, oh man, I'm so tired. That's okay. Those are going to be resolved and they will disappear when you publish the map. Okay, now that I have published this map, it has now been made public. Okay, and so what's going to happen now, because there's a setting in the public site settings that says that as soon as you publish a map, it's going to automatically make it public. So remember that we have a setting here that says automatically add published maps to public site. That's what's checked. That is why, as soon as we published this map, it went to the public view. Okay. What if I wanted to make changes? What do? I can go to the new draft and I can click on this one. It'll automatically open it up again. So it'll open it up. So try not to disrupt this thought here. And we can make some minor changes. I will republish again and demonstrate what happens. Okay, so we have something funny happened. We have it in draft again, but it's also published. How is that possible? Well, this published version can be used in lesson plans. But at the same time, we have a newer version working. We're working on this one version. So that is okay. What's going to happen is I'm going to go to edit this draft and make a tiny change here. So I'm going to go to this one right here and make it red. That way you can see what happens. Okay, so this is my newer version. I'm going to go ahead and publish again. So notice what I'm doing. I published it initially. I said, uh-oh, I needed to make a change. What do I do? So I just made a new draft, right? Notice my version history now. It gives me a published version, which is the current one, and I can view that one. And then I have two older versions. Now I can select the version that I want to look at. I can look at the older one now. I can select it and notice that's the purple version. That's the old one. I can always make a copy of this or a new draft. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool feature because even if you make changes, it's all right. Okay. All right, everyone. We've come full circle and we have a little bit of time. We have some time for questions. If this is a map that you want to look at on a regular basis, then you can refer to it and use it and experiment with it. This is your map. This is one that you can use to experiment, and then you can star the map. That way you can reference it later on. Okay. Alrighty then. So, does anybody have any questions? I'm waiting around for questions. Okay. Alrighty, so I'm still waiting. Don't worry. But this would be the end of the session. I want you to keep in mind that you may have a lesson planner training later on, and this is where we can start attaching the curriculum once they're finished. And you can use the content in your lesson plans, like for Monday. Did I want to use the resources that we added? We can also add that. Okay. Alrighty. I'm just going to hang around for questions, but other than that, I think we're finished. Okay. So I have a survey that I must ask everyone to complete. I know, no fun, but we are required to do it. Of course, my job depends on it. I'm going to leave a project code as well, and this project code they will ask for that project code. And so there's the survey, and there is the project code listed. It's a PR number 102439. So I would appreciate your time if you could fill that out for me. But until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
Just guys, quick question. Thanks for everything, by the way. It's really informative.
Yes, you're welcome.
Which one did you star? The sample academic Map June one or the
So,
training?
So we were working on the CTE map. So it'll say
Okay.
CTE. That's the one that I start.
Okay.
And the other one can be a sample. I initially started with the academic version. So if you want to see that template, you can always jump in there.
Okay, so either one is technically
A sample.
both sandboxes. Okay.
Right,
All
exactly.
right, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you all. Thank you, DeCampo, and thank you, Taryn. We'll see you all later. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.